Money talk met with skepticism at COP26, where trillions of dollars have been earmarked to fight climate change. But that can be a tough sell with Greta Thunberg and other young activists in the room in today's Top 5. Welcome to NowThis COP26 edition. I'm Alejandro Alba in Glasgow, where we'll be talking about the green washing. Let's count down and get to the biggest stories you need to know. Starting at number 5, activists with Extinction Rebellion are demanding that big companies come clean and stop with all the greenwashing.
What do we want? Climate justice! When do we want it? Now!
Armed with green buckets and scrubbing brushes, more than 100 people protested outside a shopping mall. Greenwashing is when companies claim or exaggerate that they are environmentally and climate friendly, but are not.
They might be spending this much on green things, but they're still spending this much on fossil fuels. They have got to align their investment policies, their work policies, to the needs of the environment.
This practice also helps to appeal to ethical investors. A new watchdog group was launched in Glasgow designed to crack down on this sneaky marketing tool. At number 4, the rallying cry of COP26, keep 1.5 alive. It's going to take a ton of work, but U.S. Envoy John Kerry says it can still happen if there is action now.
If we don't reduce emissions enough between 2020 and 2030, 1.5 is gone. We blow through it, and net zero 2050 is also gone.
But Kerry is pointing to hopeful signs at COP, saying there is something more engaging and urgent this time around. He says there is still a 60% chance of capping global warming at 1.5 degrees, now that 65% of the global GDP is on board with realistic climate change plans. But a group representing the least developed countries at COP doesn't see it that way. Chairman Sonam Bhunsho Wangdi of Bhutan calls the lack of progress at COP26 frightening, and is calling for developed countries to stop skirting responsibility. Number 3. President Biden slams China and Russia for being no-shows at COP, and both nations clap back.
I think, presumptuous of me to say, talk for another leader, but the fact that China, trying to assert, understandably, a new role in the world as a world leader, not showing up, come on. The same with Putin and Russia. You know, his tundra is burning, he's in the literally the tundra is burning. He has serious climate problems, and he is mum.
The Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman hit back, saying actions speak louder than empty words, and that China's response to climate change is real. As for Russia, Moscow says the country is taking a very responsible stance when it comes to tackling climate change, and that maybe this just wasn't reported to Biden before he spoke. At number 2, the focus at COP26 is now on money and where the billions of dollars are going to come from to finance the flurry of climate change proposals. The pledges are staggering, but there are very real concerns that the money might not pan out. Back in 2009, rich nations pledged $100 billion a year to help developing countries implement climate control changes. But by the 2020 deadline, the commitment had fallen short by nearly $20 billion. This has Pascal Sabito, who works to expose corporate lobbying, skeptical about many of these new staggering pledges.
Today's commitments were, if I'm honest, a load of hot air. We've heard this so many times, the same commitments. We're going to give this much money to so-and-so, and actually most of it's hot air.
Sabito says what everyone should really be worried about is the money coming from private finances, i.e. banks.
The word private finance should scare you. Why are all these fossil fuel companies still able to drill for more fossil fuels, dig for more coal, extract more gas? It's because the banks and the financial institutions are funding them.
And that puts us at number 1. A coalition of the world's biggest investors and banks are putting in $130 trillion, yes, with a T, to hit the net zero targets. The group, called the United Nations Glasgow Financial Alliance, is made up of 450 banks and companies from 45 countries. UN climate envoy Mark Carney, who is heading the alliance, says the money will make climate change a part of every financial decision.
We're increasingly only looking for net zero aligned projects, and we're happy to come to a big steel company, auto company, tech company, whatever, consumer products company. We'll lend you the money or invest in you if you have a plan to get those emissions down. But if you don't have a plan, I'm sorry, it doesn't work.
Carney's announcement was met with protesters calling it a scam, and Greta Thunberg was in the audience tweeting her opposition to banks and oil companies enabling the fossil fuel industry. While Carney is calling this a watershed moment, some skeptics still question the underlying terms of the commitments. A French nonprofit, Reclaim Finance, claims that many of the institutions aligned with the Glasgow Finance Alliance are not required to stop fossil fuel expansion. An expert panel is being established to propose clear standards. And one last thing, so much for Nessie, the inflatable Loch Ness depth monster. She was seized by police before she could make her COP26 debut, to raise awareness about the debt burdens of lower-income countries. Police say it was a breach of maritime restrictions.
That's it for today. Let me know what was the biggest story for you in the comments below, and make sure to follow NowThis Earth for more COP26 news. We'll see you right back here tomorrow for more news you need to know.